Welcome, everyone. Today, we are undertaking a truly comprehensive deep dive.
We really are.
Our sources, they're a fascinating stack of material, ranging from cutting-edge neuroscience to, the profound insights of global figures.
Hmm.
And they're not just providing information, they're offering the raw components for a bespoke, total blueprint for self-optimization.
Exactly. Our mission today is to synthesize all of this, isn't it?
Yeah.
To link physical movement, sensory processing, mental chemistry, and these deep longevity principles.
Into a singular, high-leverage action plan for you, our listener.
And the breadth of the material is precisely what makes this so powerful. We're looking far beyond the usual wellness cliches today.
Right.
We have these granular, actionable metabolic hacks, like the Japanese walking technique, sitting right alongside the complex internal workings of your brain,
Yeah.
as illuminated by the pioneering research of Dr. Jennifer Groh.
And we're integrating crucial preventative medical wisdom from Dr. Jennifer Ashton, and then looking for lessons in resilience from figures like John Bon Jovi.
And as our guest, TJ Power, stressed the highest returns, they often come from the simplest, most intentional steps.
But they have to be informed by the right science.
Precisely. That's where we're focusing. Efficiency and insight.
Absolutely. We are hunting for efficiency and improvement, not complexity. So we'll structure our exploration into 4 interlocking pillars.
Good plan.
We'll begin by laying the physical foundation, optimizing how you move and how your environment interacts with your biology. Then we transition into decoding the mind.
Analyzing brain chemistry and the stunning power of sensory integration.
Following that, we address purity and hormonal life cycles, tackling everything from supplement quality to invisible toxins.
And finally, we conclude with resilience, light signaling, and the we not me philosophy.
Looking at how invisible forces like electricity and community shape our deepest well-being.
It's a fantastic journey.
Let's dive in and build this foundation, shall we?
Let's.
So we start where so many optimization journeys stall,
Yeah.
the physical. Our sources make a compelling case that the dominant Western approach to fitness, or that whole no pain, no gain dogma, it's fundamentally flawed.
And unsustainable. We heard from one author who spoke of weighing 300 pounds and trying every punishing protocol you can imagine.
It's extreme veganism, endless cardio.
Exactly. All of it built on this premise that suffering was mandatory. And it's a metabolic trap.
A trap, how so?
Well, when you force yourself into aggressive, painful training or these really restrictive diets, you're creating a state of chronic stress.
And that means cortisol.
Massive amounts of it. A sustained release of the stress hormone cortisol. And high cortisol actively sabotages fat burning.
Especially around the midsection, right? That visceral fat.
Precisely. And it drives intense cravings. It's a completely self-defeating loop where the suffering leads directly to biological frustration.
So if the answer isn't suffering, the sources strongly suggest it's strategic movement, specifically walking, but, walking done with intelligence. But why is simply walking 10,000 steps a day, which is a common benchmark, still metabolically inefficient for weight loss?
Yes. It all comes down to energy utilization. Think of your body like a car engine.
Okay.
When you walk at a comfortable, constant, steady pace, you're effectively leaving that engine idling. You're using fuel, yes, but not enough to challenge the system.
Not enough to force an upgrade.
Exactly. The body quickly adapts to that low-level, predictable demand. The metabolic enzymes that break down stored fat, they just stay at baseline.
And your mitochondria, the energy factories, they don't get a signal to improve.
No compelling signal at all. You just plateau very, very quickly.
Which sets the stage perfectly for the Japanese innovation, this interval walking training, or IWT. It's brilliant because it introduces variability.
Precisely. The researchers recognized that movement, historically, was never constant. We shifted pace hunting, gathering, different terrain.
That variability is the key signal.
It is. When you switch rapidly between high intensity and recovery, you force your body's machinery to adapt. It's a process we call mitochondrial biogenesis.
You're sending a message to your cells.
A clear, urgent message to create more mitochondria and make the existing ones stronger and better at burning fat for fuel.
So you're literally upgrading your body's fat-burning engines.
You are, which means you burn fat faster, even hours after you finish exercising.
So let's detail the IWT method itself. The structure is everything. It seems simple, but the timing is essential for that signal.
It is. You start with a gentle 3-minute warm-up stroll, just to prepare the muscles and circulation.
Simple enough.
Then the first high-intensity interval begins. Walk at a brisk pace for exactly 3 minutes.
And how should that feel?
Challenging. a 6 or 7 out of 10 effort. You should be swinging your arms purposefully. Breathing will be heavy.
Is there a heart rate target?
Yes, this is crucial. You're aiming for 70 to 85% of your maximum. We'd also recommend trying to maintain nasal breathing during this phase.
Okay, and if you can't?
If you can only manage short bursts of air through your nose, you're likely in the optimal zone without stressing the system too much.
And then the immediate drop-off is what makes this so sustainable compared to, say, running.
Correct. After those 3 intense minutes, you immediately drop back down to a casual 3-minute recovery stroll, a 2 or 3 out of 10 effort,
And heart rate there.
around 50 to 55% of maximum.
And that cycle, 3 minutes brisk, 3 minutes recovery, you just repeat that.
You repeat it. The recommendation is 5 full cycles, so 30 minutes of walking in total.
But beginners can start smaller.
Oh, absolutely. Start with 3 cycles, 3 to 5 days per week. The efficiency is just unmatched.
When you look at the clinical documentation, what are the most significant, measurable improvements beyond just, weight loss?
Well, the trials confirm IWT achieves superior fat oxidation compared to the 10,000 steps. But the deep health markers are where it really shines.
Such as?
It's highly effective at reducing visceral fat, that dangerous internal fat around the organs.
Which is the most problematic type.
Metabolically, yes.
Okay.
It also radically improves insulin sensitivity, meaning your body handles blood sugar far more efficiently.
The cornerstone of metabolic health.
And crucially, it lowers markers of systemic inflammation, specifically C-reactive protein, or CRP.
Right, hold on. Let's quickly define that for everyone. We mentioned CRP often in relation to inflammation, but what is it exactly?
C-reactive protein is an acute phase reactant protein. It's produced by your liver, and its concentration in your blood rises very quickly in response to inflammation.
And high levels are a bad sign.
A very bad sign. Strongly correlated with an increased risk of heart disease and stroke. The fact that IWT demonstrably lowers CRP means this simple walking technique is fundamentally improving your systemic health.
So we have the technique down.
Yeah.
But the sources then immediately pivot to the environment, arguing that doing IWT in a sterile, fluorescent-lit gym is sacrificing half the benefit.
You are, absolutely. We need to talk about stacking environmental hacks for movement.
Because our biology expects specific inputs that the modern indoor setting just fails to deliver.
It's a biological disconnect. The fluorescent lights, the manufactured air, the lack of grounding. We evolved to move in light and on natural terrain.
So what are the key benefits of taking the IWT outdoors? The non-negotiables for metabolic health.
First is light signaling. Taking your walk outdoors, ideally shortly after sunrise, provides powerful sunlight exposure.
Not just for vitamin D.
No. This exposure hits specialized receptors in your eyes, signaling your brain to stop producing sleep hormones and to start the day's circadian rhythm correctly.
Which helps you sleep better later.
And lowers evening cortisol, a massive win. Secondly, grounding.
This is a concept often treated as sort of soft science, but we're framing it here as hard physics.
We must. Grounding, or earthing, is the simple act of connecting your skin to the earth.
So bare feet on grass or dirt?
Bare feet, hands, anything. The earth maintains a negative electrical potential. When we live indoors, we accumulate a positive charge buildup, which correlates with inflammation.
So connecting to the earth neutralizes that charge.
Rapidly. It's been shown to improve heart rate variability, or HRV, a key marker of nervous system balance. We'll delve into the physics of this later with Dr. Alexis Cowan's work.
So walking barefoot on grass during your IWT, even for a few minutes, is part of the stack. What about the air itself?
The air quality is vital. When you walk in a natural setting, especially near trees, you breathe in natural compounds called terpenes.
The aromatic molecules from plants?
Exactly. Studies show that inhaling terpenes lowers stress hormone levels and boosts the immune system. You're getting an anti-inflammatory, stress-reducing cocktail just by being outside.
The actionable tip seems clear then. Move your IWT outdoors, make it a morning ritual, walk on natural surfaces, and crucially, leave the sunglasses off for at least part of it.
Yes, to maximize that light exposure and circadian signaling. And if the climate permits, embrace the cold.
Right.
A slight chill can trigger the activation of brown fat. Unlike white fat, brown fat is metabolically active. It burns calories to generate heat, which further increases your metabolic rate.
So you're creating a whole cascade of benefits.
From mitochondria to hormones to metabolism, all stemming from one strategic walk.
Shifting now from the physical environment to our internal one, the mind. TJ Power gave us this brilliant framework for understanding our brain's motivational system through the DOSE effect.
The DOSE acronym Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. It's a fantastic mental shortcut.
Hmm.
And TJ Power emphasized that dopamine, often misunderstood as simply the pleasure chemical, is fundamentally the chemical of motivation and seeking.
It rewards us for hard, effortful, but ultimately valuable work.
Exactly. And that distinction between effortful value and effortless consumption is key, especially when looking at digital life.
It reminds me of TJ Power's memory of seeing the iPhone for the first time. He was 8 years old and just saw this magnetic, addictive power.
That formative memory highlights the problem. Modern tech is designed to be inexpensive in effort, minimal energy to scroll or click, but this low-effort loop doesn't equate to deep, meaningful reward.
Which is why deep work or physical challenges feel so satisfying afterwards. They cost significant effort.
Resulting in a higher, more sustainable dopamine payoff.
And the volatility of the digital sphere is the true culprit here, tapping into our reward system using the slot machine analogy.
Yes, when we check our phones or email, the reward is highly intermittent and unpredictable, just like a slot machine,
Sometimes it's a win validation, good news.
causing an intense dopamine spike. And other times, it's disappointment or spam, causing a crash.
And that constant anticipation and variable reward create an addictive loop.
TJ Power stressed that the rapid, nuanced switching between potential positives and negatives causes tremendous volatility in our dopamine system. It leads to anxiety and instability.
But the truly novel concept he introduced was the fifth chemical, not as a source of pleasure, but as a source of cognitive pain. Glutamate overload.
This is a powerful, insightful theory. Glutamate is the primary excitatory neurotransmitter in the brain. It's the molecule that enables communication and decision-making across the synapses. TJ Power's insight is that in our digitally saturated modern life, constantly triaging notifications, making rapid micro-decisions, we're causing an immense volume of glutamate release.
A traffic jam in the synapses, as he put it. What does that actually feel like to a person?
It manifests as acute cognitive fatigue, or what many people call brain fog.
That feeling of being overwhelmed and jangled.
Exactly. Struggling to focus or make even simple decisions like what to eat for dinner. Your decision-making capacity is overloaded not by deep thinking, but by constant low-level stimulus management.
So if the cause is too much rapid decision-making, what is TJ Power's actionable prescription for lowering that glutamate overload?
The solution is the intentional reduction of decision-making time and input. This is why non-productive activities are actually hyper-productive for the brain.
A short nap, for instance.
A short, intentional nap, even 15 minutes, is extraordinarily effective at clearing excess glutamate. Or it could be intentional boredom, sitting quietly, looking out the window.
It brings us back to those environmental hacks.
Walking barefoot on grass for 10 minutes. Zero decision-making. It's a potent recovery tool. The aim is zero input and zero choice to allow the synapses to rest.
That focus on attention and stability links seamlessly to the work of Dr. Jennifer Groh, who forces us to recognize the massive, invisible computations our brain performs just to process reality.
Indeed. Dr. Groh's work demonstrates the sheer, terrifying complexity happening beneath the surface of consciousness.
Take vision, for example.
Every time you move your eyes, which happens several times a second, the image shifts dramatically across your retina. Yet, you perceive a stable world.
Your brain is performing continuous, massive computational work.
Reconciling internal movement with external reality. It's incredible.
And her findings on auditory localization show the impossible precision required.
It really does. It highlights the extreme efficiency of our neural circuits. The brain can detect differences in the arrival time of sound between your two ears that are smaller than half a millisecond.
Half a millisecond? That's hard to even get your head around.
It's less time than the duration of a single action potential, which is the fundamental electrical signal neurons use to communicate. The brain is computing differences faster than the basic communication unit of its own network.
And this integration doesn't just happen in the cortex, it happens in older, deeper structures like the superior colliculus.
Dr. Groh identified the superior colliculus as a key site for this multimodal integration. It's where different sensory maps, visual, auditory, motor, are laid over each other.
Which is crucial because our senses use different reference frames.
Precisely. The visual world is localized relative to where your eyes are pointing, but sound is localized relative to the position of your head. The brain has to constantly reconcile these.
And this leads us to the anecdote that is simultaneously the most surprising and the most illustrative of this, Dr. Jennifer Groh's story about hypnotizing chickens.
It sounds like a party trick, but it is pure applied neuroscience.
Right.
Chickens are ground feeders. To accurately peck a tiny seed, they execute a highly sophisticated sensory motor maneuver involving eye movements called vergence.
Shifting their eyes inward to create a small cone of focus.
Yes, right at the tip of their tiny beak. It's an immense demand on visual attention to successfully land that peck.
And the experimental setup is almost comically simple.
Exactly. You hold the chicken, draw a straight line in the dirt, and gently place its beak onto that line.
And what happens?
The strong visual command of the single unmoving line, combined with that innate focus mechanism, causes the bird to get stuck in a state of hyperfocus.
The single visual input just overpowers everything else.
It locks the bird into this strange, seemingly hypnotic state.
So what's the human application of this profound primitive control mechanism?
It highlights that stable, intense visual focus is a fundamental driver of a stable brain state. Dr. Groh connected this to practices designed to improve attention.
Like in those Chinese schools where students begin lessons by focusing on a single spot.
Exactly. That simple visual command helps anchor the entire cognitive system. If a chicken can be overwhelmed by a single line of focus, imagine the neurological stress we induce by constantly feeding our attention systems an endless, rapidly shifting, volatile stream of input.
The exact opposite of a single, stabilizing visual anchor.
It connects directly back to T.J. Power's glutamate overload. We're demanding constant, unstable, low-value sensory triage, preventing the brain from achieving the stable, integrated focus it needs.
Our journey now turns to purity specifically, the purity of what we ingest and what surrounds us. The supplement market is an absolute minefield.
It truly is.
Full of confusion, misleading labels, and quality concerns. Our sources, including the perspective of Oliver Amdrup, help us navigate this space.
And Oliver Amdrup simplifies the necessary due diligence down to 2 critical metrics, and they must be checked by credible third-party labs.
Which are?
First, potency. Does the product contain the active ingredient advertised at the dose claimed? And second, purity. Is the product free from harmful contaminants?
Things like heavy metals, microplastics, residual solvents.
Precisely.
And that purity concern is magnified dramatically when we talk about things like protein powders, isn't it? Because of the sheer volume consumed.
It's a critical risk amplifier. Protein powders are highly concentrated food sources, and most users are consuming a significant dose daily, 20, 30, 40 grams.
So if a low-level pollutant is present,
That daily large dose means the cumulative exposure over months becomes worryingly high. Oliver Amdrup noted that a surprisingly high percentage of protein powders, particularly plant-based ones, frequently fail stringent third-party heavy metal tests.
so purity is arguably more vital than potency in that case.
When consuming large daily doses, I would say so, yes.
Oliver Amdrup also gave a very specific, pointed warning regarding the growing trend of supplement novelty formats, particularly gummies.
This is where a healthy dose of skepticism is required. The rise of supplements in gummy form is often driven by marketing, but it introduces significant formulation problems. He cited the example of creatine gummies. Creatine monohydrate has a distinct gritty texture. To remove that and make it pleasant in a gummy often requires significantly reducing the actual active ingredient.
So you're not getting what you pay for.
He warned that consumers might need to eat a handful or more of these gummies to even approach the standard effective clinical dose of 5 grams.
Making them inefficient and full of sugar.
Exactly. He urges listeners to always demand third-party lab verification for the active ingredient, especially with expensive novel formats.
Moving from intentional ingestion to unavoidable exposure, we have to address the pervasive, invisible threat of microplastics, detailed by Dr. Stephanie Wright.
A leading UK researcher, yes. Her work underscores that exposure is universal and multifaceted.
And she pinpointed 3 major sources.
We inhale microplastics in the air, particularly in urban environments where tire wear from vehicles is a massive, often overlooked contributor.
Our clothing, too.
Especially synthetic textiles like nylon and polyester. They shed copious amounts of plastic fiber during wear and washing. A huge vector.
And finally, packaging.
Yes, the leaching of chemicals from packaging into food and drink remains a constant source of concern.
What I found particularly insightful was Dr. Stephanie Wright's commentary on the greenwashing trap. These materials designed to sound sustainable, but that lack the necessary infrastructure.
She articulated the real-world frustration of researchers and consumers so well. You buy something labeled compostable or plant-based, intending to make an ethical choice.
Right.
But compostable often means industrial compostable. It requires high heat and specific microbial environments.
In many cities, there's just no public infrastructure to handle that.
No specialized bins, no collection facilities. Consequently, these supposedly green items end up in a landfill, making the initial sustainable choice functionally useless.
So when these plastics do enter our body, what does Dr. Wright's research suggest about our ability to clear them?
Fortunately, the body has a robust initial defense. Dr. Wright confirmed that the vast majority of microplastics we ingest are eliminated efficiently via stool.
But the smaller nano-sized particles are the problem.
They can be absorbed across the gut or lung barriers and enter circulation. The body's clearance mechanisms, the liver, the lymphatic system, the spleen, they play a role.
But the long-term question is about accumulation.
Exactly. Given continuous exposure, what are the consequences of potential accumulation and continuous chemical leaching? That remains the big question.
Now, let's transition from external purity to internal chemistry, focusing on hormonal health, led by Dr. Jennifer Ashton's work in nutritional gynecology.
The field she pioneered, yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Ashton realized that treating women's reproductive health in isolation, just focusing on the vagina and uterus and ovaries, was inadequate.
So she created nutritional gynecology to integrate diet and lifestyle across the major reproductive landmarks.
Which she framed using the P words: puberty, PCOS, and perimenopause.
And the data she provided on puberty is startling. Girls are hitting menarche, their first period, a full year earlier than they were just a few decades ago.
It is startling. And Dr. Ashton highlighted that this early onset isn't just an arbitrary shift. It's statistically linked to increased lifetime risk of certain cancers, particularly breast cancer and potentially dementia.
And the mechanism is just longer exposure to estrogen.
A longer duration of lifetime exposure to cyclical endogenous estrogen. It's a potent growth signal.
So nutrition for young girls becomes a preventative tool against future disease. What was Dr. Ashton's practical advice on managing this through diet, particularly for conditions like PCOS?
Her focus is on mindful eating, using the concept of fuel quality. She advises parents to teach children the difference between the clean fuel of an apple and the dirty fuel of a brownie.
And for PCOS, which involves insulin resistance.
She advised significant carbohydrate management. She even cautioned that seemingly healthy foods like grapes are essentially straight sugar and should be treated as a dessert.
So what's the target for carbs?
The goal she suggested is maintaining a quality carbohydrate intake limited to around 80 to 100 grams daily to minimize blood sugar spikes.
This heightened awareness of toxins and nutrition was also central to Miranda Kerr's profound health journey, which began during a period of intense personal vulnerability.
It did. Miranda Kerr shared her deeply personal struggle during her first pregnancy. She was diagnosed with both irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and the more severe inflammatory condition, proctitis.
And that physical challenge forced her to look at every chemical and ingredient she was using.
Her commitment to holistic health wasn't born from a desire for beauty. It was driven by necessity and fighting chronic inflammation.
And the specific detail about her mother's discovery really brings home how hidden these everyday toxins are.
It's a memorable moment. Miranda Kerr discovered a book, The Chemical Maze, which exposed harmful ingredients in cosmetics. She shared this with her mother. And her mother subsequently realized that her beloved, decades-old fragrance collection, which she applied liberally every single day, was a massive, continuous source of toxins being absorbed directly into her system.
That's a powerful realization.
It cemented Miranda Kerr's professional mission, which led directly to the creation of Cora Organics and her insistence on certified organic status.
Because clean beauty is so unregulated.
Highly unregulated. Her goal was to provide consumers with absolute certified proof of purity, recognizing that the skin is a major pathway for absorption.
We move now to the powerful, often invisible forces that govern our deepest biology, starting with the electrical and light signals that shape us, as illuminated by the remarkable work of Dr. Alexis Cowan.
Her core insight is simple, yet profound. We are fundamentally electrical beings, and light is the master regulator of our biological clocks.
And this is critical because modern life often places us behind barriers that filter out the very light spectrums we need.
Yes. Dr. Alexis Cowan focused on the vital role of near-infrared light, or NIR.
Which we can't see.
No, but it penetrates deep into tissues and is absolutely essential for the function and quality control of our mitochondria.
And the shocking realization is how much of this vital light we simply filter out by accident.
Standard window glass. In your car, in your office, it filters out virtually all of the beneficial near-infrared light.
So if you spend 90% of your life indoors,
your mitochondria are perpetually starved of the necessary stimulus for maintenance. Dr. Cowan calls this a significant contributor to a modern mitochondrial crisis.
And even ultraviolet light, which we're constantly warned against, plays a mandatory hormonal role.
Absolutely. Dr. Alexis Cowan detailed how UVB exposure is vital because it triggers the skin to produce the neurohormone POMC.
Pro-opiomelanocortin.
Exactly. It's a complex precursor protein that gets broken down into several crucial compounds that regulate multiple systems.
Things like appetite and libido.
And it sets local circadian clocks in organs like the ovaries. Our biology is engineered to actively look for and respond to this specific light input.
Now, if we move past the beneficial spectrums, we encounter the long wavelength light we cannot see, which Dr. Cowan terms non-native EMF.
Is the radio frequencies, Wi-Fi, 5G, Bluetooth. The concern is that continuous high-level exposure increases oxidative stress and inflammation.
And Dr. Cowan's research highlighted a specific danger.
Yes, that exposure increases the permeability of two of the body's most important barriers, the blood-brain barrier and the gut barrier,
allowing toxins and inflammation to pass more easily into the brain and circulation.
which links EMF exposure to issues like cognitive fog and systemic inflammation.
This practical physics led to a surprising warning that many listeners might find concerning: the risk associated with electric and hybrid vehicles.
The concern here isn't solely about radio frequency, but about the non-native electric and magnetic fields generated by the high-voltage battery systems.
And because of the proximity.
Exactly. The inverse square law of physics means the strength of a field decreases exponentially with distance. Since you sit directly above the battery packs in many EVs, the proximity maximizes exposure.
Now let's return to the concept of grounding. We need to anchor this claim that it is hard physics, drawing on the research Dr. Cowan cited.
We must. Dr. Cowan refers to foundational work by scientists like Albert St. George and Robert O. Becker on the body electric. Their research posited that the protein matrices within the body act as liquid crystal semiconductors. They conduct and respond to electrical fields.
So when we're indoors, insulated, we build up a positive electrical charge.
We do. The Earth, by contrast, has a stable negative charge. The simple act of touching the Earth-bare skin on grass allows the rapid exchange of electrons, neutralizing that accumulated positive charge.
It's a measurable physical process.
We are restoring the body's fundamental electrical balance.
Floating from this profound physical science to the philosophy of long-term existence, we conclude with a towering example of resilience: Jon Bon Jovi.
His sustained success over 4 decades offers an incredible blueprint, and his longevity is a testament to the power of continuity and the deep importance of relationships.
He's maintained a 40-year relationship with his wife, Dorothea, who knew him before fame.
That stability, that anchor, is absolutely crucial for resilience in a high-volatility career. He emphasized that these deep connections aren't passive. They require constant intentional nurturing.
However, his recent profound adversity, the serious and risky vocal surgery, provided the most crucial insight into his philosophical shift.
That surgery was an immense physical and psychological challenge. For a singer, the voice is identity, livelihood, confidence.
He had to rehabilitate it like an athlete.
He did. He had to shed the youthful confidence that the voice would simply snap back and instead embrace a new reality. He admitted his new standard is pretty close, not exactly what it was.
But this acceptance led to a deeper kind of success.
The physical challenge forced a spiritual realignment.
And that realignment is encapsulated in his powerful shift to the we, not me philosophy.
He realized he no longer needed to carry the entire weight of the performance or feel the constant need to prove his worth. His goal shifted from chasing external validation to achieving spiritual resonance and collective joy.
He's there to hold the light for the audience.
Powered by the collective energy of the band and the crowd. The reward is the reflection of joy he sees in the audience. It's a transition from individual achievement to communal fulfillment.
And this we, not me principle is physically manifested in the incredible foundation he created with his wife, Dorothea.
The Soul Kitchens. They are a profound expression of collective purpose and dignity.
Community restaurants with no prices on the menu.
Exactly. Customers can either pay a suggested donation or, critically, they can volunteer their time to earn their meal.
Which eliminates the shame associated with charity.
As Jon Bon Jovi and Dorothy envisioned, the volunteer leaves feeling empowered, thinking, I'm a part of this, rather than being a passive recipient. It links personal effort, communal connection, and dignity.
We've completed an exhaustive synthesis today, moving from the microscopic mitochondrial biogenesis and synaptic glutamate overload to the philosophical heights of collective purpose.
It's been quite a journey.
We've built a comprehensive blueprint: strategic movement via IWT, internal chemistry management with dose and glutamate principles, intense environmental awareness regarding supplements and microplastics,
Honoring hormonal life cycles, as taught by Dr. Jennifer Ashton, and building resilience through essential light signaling, the hard physics of grounding, and that collective purpose John Bon Jovi champions.
The core lesson here, repeated across every single source, is the power of intentional simplicity. Optimization is not about endless complexity.
No. As TJ Power taught us, it's about being acutely informed so you can take incredibly small, simple steps, like managing your dopamine by walking barefoot outside.
Or radically improving your health by recognizing the difference between industrial compostable and actual waste management.
It is the intelligent stacking of these deliberate actions that transforms your entire system.
Indeed. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge. So let us leave you with one final provocative thought that draws on that ultimate resilience lesson from John Bon Jovi. If you were to redefine success this week, moving away from chasing digital volatility and external validation and towards finding spiritual resonance and collective joy, how might you intentionally restructure your daily life? From ensuring morning sunlight hits your eyes to creating pockets of zero decision-making time to achieve that empowerment and profound fulfillment.
A powerful question to end on.
Go forth, apply these principles, and build your own sustainable blueprint.